I'd like to present to you today is a bakery cafe for Rexburg, Idaho. In Rexburg, there aren't really a lot of locations or places to hang out and do homework, and that's exactly what I'm wanting to bring. I want a Central Perk from Friends kind of feel. I'm also bringing a new kind of dessert to Rexburg in the form of French pastries and gourmet desserts. To start with my MVP, I've brought an example of what will be served as well as how I'm wanting to set up my cafe. On the left, we have a gourmet brownie with the chocolate chip cookie bottom, Oreo middle, and a brownie top. And then, as you can see on the right-hand side, is a rough drawing of what I'm wanting my layout of my cafe to be. And a big point is that I'm wanting multiple different kinds of seating options for my customers. There is a good servable market in Rexburg for this type of cafe because it is a college town. Taking into consideration also high schoolers, my servable market on the high side is a little over 16,000 people. Taking that to the other extreme, the market could be as small as 8,000 when you take out the people who either don't eat out or they will choose a different dessert location. To create customer relationships, I obviously will need to start with spreading awareness. This will start about 2 months out before opening with social media. Then moving on to a couple weeks before, I would do door-to-door advertising with flyers about the cafe and having an opening party on the day of. During the first 2 weeks of being open, I would also offer samples and then discounts to people who came in because of certain reasons that are posted on social media. This would bring more people in to make that first purchase, which I believe once they try the desserts, they'll want to come back. As you can see, I have a few ways to keep the customers outlined here, such as dessert contests for them, punch cards, free Wi-Fi, and an idea box for them to give me ideas for desserts, new drinks, or anything to do with the cafe. Growing the customers will mainly consist of referrals and people bringing in their friends and family with them. As you can see, there are two main types of distribution channels that I'll be using. The first is obvious in-store sales, where they'll come into the business, buy the product, and I'll hand it straight to them. The second is the delivery sales, where I will use something such as DoorDash or Grubhub to have my products delivered to my customers. I added this delivery option because a lot of people I interviewed and talked to thought that it would be a good idea to have something easier for those people. I think that there are two different ways that I could go with a partnership. The first is a strategic alliance with an up-and-coming product line or business that could be paired with me, such as a sandwich shop or bake supply store. I don't have a specific business or company in mind as of yet, but I think this could really help both businesses build off of each other, and we can send each other our customers. Four of my most important resources will be human resources, or my employees, intellectual resources, which are my recipes, physical resources, the location, furniture, and appliances, and lastly, of course, monetary resources, which are the finances to get started. For my employees, I want it to be a good and inspiring environment where they feel welcomed, valued, and like they can learn and grow in their own careers. For my recipes, I am worried about competition starting up, so I'd want to have anyone who comes in contact with them sign a non-compete and non-disclosure agreement so I can protect myself and my business. A huge and very important resource is, of course, the building and everything that goes inside of it. If I can't get that, then I can't really get my business off the ground. The last one is finances, which will make all other key resources possible. I would like to have just a few angel investor type investors to help me get my dream off the ground. There are two most important key activities while I'm getting the business ready to be open, and the first is, of course, acquiring the furniture and appliances needed for the cafe, and the second being to develop and start running a website for it. In the materials acquisition, I will need to plan kind of what I'm wanting in my cafe, then pricing all of that, and then planning out the finances and costs to see what I can get, what I need to rent, and what I can buy. For developing the website, I again would want to produce kind of a rough website design and layout of what I'm looking for. and then finding someone either to do an internship with me or to hire kind of on the cheaper side to create this website and then connect it to our social medias. Once this is done, I plan to monitor clicks on the different products on my website to see what the customers are really looking for and interested in, so I can adjust my menu and website to them. One cost that I plan on doing a little different is instead of renting a place for years and years and years, I would like to get a loan to buy a place so then I can work towards not having that rent expense after a few years. I think in the beginning I do plan on having about 3 workers during prime hours and only 2 during the slow hours. And then every 2 weeks I plan on ordering new ingredients for what needs to be made in the coming weeks, and I want to plan those orders so that it comes in at least a week in advance. So if anything goes wrong with the delivery, then I have time to get something else. For revenue, I have priced my desserts between $3 and $5 each, depending on what it takes to make them. And then my drink prices are about $1 to $3 each, which is the average around Rexburg area. I also plan on having combo discounts. In regards to my annual yearly revenue, I take into account that I'd have about 40 customers per day, open 6 days a week other than holidays, which will result in about 50 weeks out of the year being open, with an average of $6 per ticket would sum up my yearly revenue to about $72,000. Above are 8 key points that I've taken away from interviews with people who are potential customers, other business students, and potential investors. Just to point out a few that I really felt were interesting and helpful to me is one is that to keep in mind that revenue may be low in the beginning. You're not making a lot of money, but as long as you see growth and that growth is fairly a good size, then you can keep going. It's when your growth is small and you're not growing as much that you have to be worried that it might not be a viable plan. Another one is to always have an MVP with you when you're talking to potential customers that you can offer them to either see or taste or feel so that they can know better what you're trying to offer them. And then lastly, people want something with a lower price range that's still good. When considering business environment, I think that one important thing will be to keep in mind that I am a business in a college town and that money is always tight with college students. I have to make sure that the opportunity cost of my products are great enough that the customers will choose me over my competition. Another big thing is that it is a young community, so getting in on the social media trends and the funny video trends will really help me to connect to my customers. Here, as you can see, I have outlined 2 points in each section of the SWOT analysis. Starting with our strengths and weaknesses, I believe that my new startup has a strength in the products that we will offer, and that it's also a fun place for all ages. Offering something new in a college town is beneficial. On the same page, my weakness will be to starting up, not possibly gaining new customers, because it is something different and there are so many other options available in Rexburg. I think that my price points could also hurt me as well because they are a little higher than other places in town. But I can combat this with making sure I have really great products. Next, going to opportunities, I think that because there's nothing like what I am wanting to open in Rexburg yet, then I have this great opportunity to enter a new market and gain loyal customers because I'm creating something new and will be the first. I do have a few threats in opening this, and they start out with the competition that is already here in Rexburg, such as Soda Vine, The Cookie Place, and June's Place. Lastly, I just want to talk about my initial BMC to my final BMC. There were 3 major pivots that I considered and ended up changing after talking and interviewing with different people. The first was to drop my dance floor party section aspect of the business. I realized that I was offering too many things and too much was going on. And because I'm much more passionate about the desserts, I decided to focus solely on that and make that great. The second was adding more options to my menu, such as salty snacks and other simpler desserts. A lot of people brought up the fact that not everyone wants sweets or not everyone may like French pastries, so having other options will bring more customers in. And then the last pivot was to add the delivery options, which I have talked about a little bit already, for people who want the desserts but either may not want to drive or be able to drive, or they may have lots of kids and they can't get out of the house. So with all of this, I believe that I have come up with a great business model canvas for a awesome startup in Rexburg, Idaho of a bakery cafe.